Okay, 37 foot-pounds on this main new bolt for the balancer wheel.
And it comes with some Loctite on it already.
Yep. There it is. And now he's going to set how many degrees of rotation? 140?
140.
140 degrees of rotation on this torque wrench. So Mike's setting that up. I don't think a lot of people realize that a lot of times you're torquing a bolt to a foot-pound, and then you got to go to another setting for a certain amount of degrees of rotation in addition to the torque.
I think the torque just gets you kind of everything kind of
Yeah,
baseline
yeah.
and centered out to a given 0 point.
Yeah. So he has two pulls. So should be 140, right? Okay. This is all set. It's torqued. Quite a bit of ass went into torquing this balancer wheel. So then the next thing was we put a straight edge on this to make sure that the timing chain cover was flush with the bottom of the block right here, which, look at that. There it is right there. And you can see it right there. So now Mike's getting the torque specs for this timing chain cover. And we will dress these bolts down right here. All right.
It's killing you.
You can see we're putting some new plugs in the motor right here. There's one of them. And
This one we got
another one right here. So got an Allen socket. We're going to torque that thing down. Okay, so we're looking at the oil pan. Mike just removed that baffle right here that was sitting there. I'm going to drill out. You can see you got a rivet right there, and then we're going to remove this oil pan gasket. Mike has a new gasket. Okay, just getting rid of some of the residual oil. You can see that the gasket has been removed. We're going to clean this all out nice, get rid of any metal chips that may have fallen into the pan when I drilled out the rivets. Right there's one, and right over there. New oil filter. You can see that we cleaned out the pan. The edge here where the gasket goes is nice. There was a pop rivet right there, and there was a pop rivet right there. They both were punched out, and you just don't do anything about that, okay? Just the normal bolts will go on this. And then you have this piece right here, which has all been cleaned as well. Let's see here. This piece ends up sitting in there just like that. So we'll put that back in too. So oil pans looking good. You had a whole bag of them inside there, and this a few drawers down. Okay, you can torque those. Okay, so Mike has a new oil pan gasket. You can see it right here. This is pretty nice. What cast aluminum, Mike?
Yeah, that's a Camaro F-body. It's
Yeah.
what they call it, oil pan. So it's the same as the truck one, but it's 3.5 inches shorter. So it fits right on there.
Yeah. Okay, you can see the new gasket is just sitting here in place. And as Mike said, right here where you have this seam, we know we're nice and level here, but we're going to put some silicone in here. So there's our gasket. We're going to get a little bit of silicone, and then we'll put the oil pan on top of it and drop that down and torque it up. So pretty nice, coming along pretty well. Okay, I'm just going to show you that there's some silicone right on the seams with the timing chain and the rear towards the flywheel. So there we go. So we're going to drop this gasket on there. There we go. Very nice. Easy peasy. She sits right there. She lines up great. And I'm going to go grab the oil pan. Okay, you can see the oil pan's on. You just carefully drop it over that piece in the center that actually has the screen mesh that draws the oil up. So Mike's going to get some bolts here and get them started. But this is going to be really nice. Really looks good.
They do have
Nice to have the whole bottom of the motor all set. You'll notice a plug was installed here. A plug was installed there. A plug was installed right here. And then on well, when this thing's in location, this will be the passenger side right here. So another plug right there. So you can see I just have a little nut driver here, and I'm starting all these bolts in the oil pan and working them through the gasket. You can see them all over here. Okay, this bolt and this bolt have a different torque spec. Mike just took care of those, so now I'm going to come around and torque the bolts around the oil pan right here like that, all the way around over here. All right, you can see I got the torque wrench set up here, 18 foot-pounds on these bolts for the oil pan all the way around. Mike's tightening up the oil filter, make sure that that thing's all set. Brand new oil filter. This motor is starting to look kind of big now. You can see the flywheel's on. Pistons are all set. Everything's been checked out. Balancing wheel, oil pan, etc., etc. Plugs are put in the block. You can see that we made a lot of progress here. So the next thing we'll be looking at, I think, Mike, is the heads, correct?
Yeah, put the heads together.
All right. Okay, so we're looking at the new heads. Obviously, the valves are in place. You can see them right here. Mike's got another new interesting tool, valve spring compressor.
Now, I counted all these retainers and everything earlier, so everything should be in there.
So let's see what we're up against as far as putting the springs on the valves with the retainers to hold them in place.
Yep, so I'll tell you what, watch. Alright, so here's how these work. If the valve was in, the retainer would, or the seal would go over it. The spring would go on.
Large side down, smaller side up.
And they only fit one way.
Yep.
Because if you look at these umbrella type seals, they fit that way, and it also becomes the base for the valve spring. It won't go that way.
Makes sense.
Same with the top piece.
Yeah, and then what, the top just presses on and it holds it, locks in?
So what we need this for is to compress the spring. So on here, it'll go this way. There'll be two little keepers. This is the part where things tend to go flying if we're not careful. Sometimes a little oil just on the tip acts as a little temporary glue. So these two are, it's like a wedge lock. That when you let the pressure off on the tool,
it expands and it holds it.
The spring pressure
so you,
just
so
goes
you
in
compress the spring, you put the two wedges on,
Yep.
You let the spring go, and then through the force of the spring, as it expands, it
locks
locks
in there,
onto
like a
the
little
stem.
tapered lock fit kind of thing.
Okay.
So,
wow.
what we need to do.
There it goes.
All right.
Wow. Okay, we just rotated the engine in the upright position. You can see right here, everything's good. New timing chain cover, balancer, pistons are all in the go position, flywheel is on. Obviously, the whole bottom portion of the motor is all set. So we got that in the ready position as we then now begin to put the springs on top of the valves. So you can see Mike's just tapping those in, and they just lock in on the valves. Yeah, you can just see that. You can see that the valves right there. So watch Michael put those. He'll prep those all on those last four valve stems, and then take a socket and just kind of presses them into position. Pretty cut and dry. A little bit of oil. Boom, there it is. You can just see they compress right over and lock into place. Nice, very nice. Nice, very nice. Okay, so that side's done.
That should also keep, that's gonna also keep the valves from falling out.
Kind of from falling out.
Yep.
Intake and exhaust valves right there per cylinder. Got to do the same thing. Got to set up these 8 right here. You can see the oil's going right in.
You know, when you have one of these V8 things, they got a lot of valves.
Yeah.
This is, I don't even know if this step is necessary.
I think it's
To
pretty
me, it
good.
just gives it a little...
Yeah, it just makes it easier and kind of locks it into place.
You can just take that if you want. Just push them right down there.
See the socket goes on there. Give it a little push.
Easy squeezy.
Yep. Nice. There you go. So you can see that these are all pressed into place. You can see I've got some movement on each valve, the intake and the exhaust. Very nice. Fresh.
Because it's got all light.
Yeah, you got it. Almost, a little more. All right, wow, and it locks into place. So now the spring is compressed, and now you can see there's a little groove right here. Now he'll be able to take those two wedge pieces.
Use one that's pneumatic.
Okay, so we put some grease in there, which acts like glue, and it holds the two pieces. So basically, as the spring expands, it's tapered on this wedge, and then it holds it under compression. So there you go. One done, 15 more to go.
That's it.
All right. Okay, you can see that one whole head is done. Basically, this clamp-on tool works really well. Just taking a moment to look at the head gaskets. You can see they are 1, 2, 3, 4 layer.
It should be 5.
5?
If you buy some brands of head gaskets, this hole is closed. It's
Okay.
not there. If you put this on the wrong way, if this is blocked off, that's your coolant passage.
Right.
And you'll notice it comes right out here to the water pump. You see my finger?
Yep.
So coolant will not circulate through the motor.
Yeah,
These,
Yeah.
they are marked front. I don't know
Yep.
if that matters,
Sure as hell does. Look at
but
that.
it keeps that hole open.
Yeah.
So,
Look at that. Sitting in the go position right there.
that's it.
New head gasket. So we have one head done. We're going to use the spring tool. We have one more head to do. So far everything's working out really well.
So either head could go either way. That makes no difference, really.
See the nice gasket now. Okay, so we're starting the second head right here. You can see we have our first valve all set. So we got 7 more to do. There we go. The grease is a big help. It kind of holds the locking wedges into place, almost like glue, so that when he releases the C-clamp, the spring expands, and then the wedge just expands on the spring with this piece, and it locks the valve stem into place.